What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. Like I said last week, this month is Heritage Month, and on Thursday it is Heritage Day. And yeah, I was going to share with you a part of my heritage. I have a mixed heritage, so I decided instead of going into my heritage, I was going to share with you something from my past, something from when I grew up. I'd like to tell you a story about Lydia. Now, back when I was little, back in the 80s, we basically all grew up with domestic workers. It wasn't a funny thing. Every house had one. You had a maid and you had a garden boy, and that's how it was. And a lot of people now will think, yeah, but that's racist. It wasn't exactly like that. Lydia was more than just my mom's domestic worker. She basically helped raise us. Now Lydia came to my mom in 1982, just after my brother was born. She tells me that Lydia the one day pitched up at our house looking for work. Now back in that day there was segregation, and there was the Group Areas Act, and after, like for instance, after a certain time at night, I think it was 6 o'clock, there were no black people allowed on the streets of Pretoria or in any white residential areas. And yeah, I think Lydia needed a job in Pretoria to be close to her husband or boyfriend at that time. So yeah, she rocked up at my mom's house looking for a job, and at that stage my mom didn't really want a maid. She didn't, so she told Lydia she doesn't need a maid, she does her homework herself. Lydia persisted, and my mom just stuck to her guns and said, you know what, there's no domestic worker that can in any case clean my house the way I clean it myself, so thank you, but no thank you. A few days later, Lydia pitched up to the house again, and I think my mom was at that stage a little shocked that this woman kept coming back. And Lydia went and she told my mom, yeah, but she can clean my mom's house better than my mom can clean it. And I think at that stage my mom felt more sorry for her than anything else, because she needed a place to stay in Pretoria. So yeah, she gave Lydia a chance. But yeah, one of her big major duties was also taking care of us, my mom's children. And this is the same in a lot of households across South Africa in the 80s and in the 90s. Your domestic worker helped take care of your children. What I do remember of Lydia is in the mornings, I think before we went to school, you know, before we were at school, we were still staying at home. In the mornings we used to sit in the kitchen on the floor, and Lydia would play on the radio in the kitchen, would play this African radio station. I can't remember what it's called. It's like, I suppose, Radio Tshwane or something like that. But I remember this church music, you know, this Tswana church music playing, and we'd sit on the floor and she'd make pop and she'd make sheba. Now sheba, if you don't know, it's basically like a tomato and onion stew, and sometimes they put like green leafy vegetables in, like cabbage and stuff like that in as well. And she used to make a little pop of sheba, and she'd make a pot of pop, and we'd sit on the floor and eat pop and sheba with our hands. I remember that. I also remember that Lydia used to she treated us like her children. I remember if my dad got home, he was in the Defence Force, he was a chef in the Defence Force. And if he came home, say, after a function or something, that he was like very tired or maybe irritated, or you know how parents get sometimes after work, Lydia would take my brother into her room and she'd like keep him there till it was time for him to go to bed, and then she'd bring him out and take him to bed, and she'd also help bath him in the evenings and, you know, clean up and so on. So yeah, Lydia was basically like a second mom to us, but mostly to my brother. then at the end, I think at the end of 1984, we moved away. We moved down to the Cape, and Lydia, because of the laws of that time, Lydia wasn't allowed to move with us. But Lydia did live in Naboomspruit, the town I live in now. So she came back to these parts, and in the meantime, by the way, we moved back up north and we moved to Naboomspruit. And yeah, my mom was standing in the bank one day, and this black lady came. Now this is like almost 10 years later, you know. This black lady comes up to her and greeted her, and my mom was shocked. It was Lydia, and she actually turned around and she grabbed her and she hugged her. Now in 1991, standing in an FNB bank in Naboomspruit is hugging a black woman is like, yeah, it's a big no-no, you know. And that time racism was still very alive in this country and in this town, and yeah, it was frowned upon, you know. But in any case, my mom was so excited to see Lydia, and they had a little chat and so on. And yeah, Lydia was at that stage, she was working, my mom found out she was working in Potch, in a hotel and in a liquor store. And yeah, so my mom didn't see her again. But then a few years later, in 2002, there was a story in the newspaper about a woman from Naboomspruit who won the lottery, and it was Lydia. She is affectionately known as Mama Lotto now. She well, obviously after winning the lotto, she retired, and the community, the Mogopong community, actually look up to her, because instead of going and spending her lotto winnings on holidays and fancy cars and fancy clothes, and you know, she went and she helped build up the community. She helped build a church, and she also, for each of her sisters, I think, and her children, she built houses. Now, not very luxury houses or anything, just basically what they needed. She fixed up her house a bit, and yeah, so she decided to take her winnings and put it back into the community. That's the story of Lydia. I think this is a part of my heritage. We did grow up in a different era than the children growing up now. It was a lot different, but I don't think I would change it or swap it for anyone else's life. If you have any stories like that, I would love to know about it. So why not tell me about it in the comments below. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Till next week, I love you all, and please stay safe.